After Black Monday, it's been a bit of a long sludge, but we finally made it. Mike LaFleur's coaching staff is complete. Who are the big additions? Who are the difference makers? But more importantly, Johnny, who's going to be playing quarterback for the Cardinals in 2026?
Plus, we got Matt Zenitz, who broke everything under the sun as it relates to the Cardinals during the coaching search. He's going to tell us why Mike LaFleur went with the guys he did. Plus, a Friday mock draft with a twist. PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K, our Friday friends. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier, #1 in the world, Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Brack. Noah Man playing hooky today. We got our guy Kev of PHNX Wildcats behind the Mac. Bo, how we living?
We're living well. Absolutely. Check out the great work that Kevin and, of course, our sweet little precious Damon Dog are doing over there at PHNX AZ Wildcats. Of course, the premier Wildcat show. What's up to everybody in the chat? How about Shaft, PK Fitzgerald, Connor Herbst? I'm Hen, Naheem. Never a pleasure. We got Connor again, Joe, Dante Benjamin, Jacob Tackett, Mr. Cardinal 1969, Steven Jackson, G. Willikers. So many great people. Terry, Bees, one of our favorites. So many great people wanting to talk about this team on a pretty quiet Friday, a football Friday nonetheless, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. It's never ordinary. Download the Bet365 app today, and when you use the code PHNX365, you can just deposit $10. You bet $5, you get $100. Actually, no, strike that, $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, Johnny.
Hit that like button. It's a sleepy Friday, which means the Cardinals are probably going to drop some breaking news. Knowing this team, here's some breaking news. We go to the NFL Combine next week. So quick programming note. We'll announce this a couple times throughout the duration of the show. Friday, today, last show of this week, we're doing a Cards After Dark stream on Sunday night to preview the Combine. No show on Monday. And then shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week will be at 2:30 AZ time. Is that clear as mud? Everybody got that?
Yeah. It's what time are we gonna be on Sunday? Monday?
Yeah, Tuesday, Sunday night. Wednesday? Yeah, Sunday night stream at 8:30. Monday no show. Tuesday 2:30. And Tuesday's a big day. Why, Bo?
Tuesday's big because we're going to be talking to General Manager Monti Ossenfort and Head Coach Mike LaFleur speak at the Combine.
Yes.
Which they're going to tell us who they're going to take third overall.
Right.
Some clarity probably finally on Kyler Murray and his stance with the organization. I'm sure we're going to get answers to all those lingering questions as far as the Cardinals. Absolutely. Voss, Louis,
that's hurtful.
Anniversary. It's not. It's just part of our history.
It is. As is a coach interview. Jacob asking when the Mike LaFleur interview is going down. That's TBD. Here's what happens when a coach that you have a relationship with gets fired. Unfortunately, you have to start a new relationship with a new best friend and a new head coach. So we'll see. We might strike out, or we might be able to provide some good content. Regardless, you're going to get elite content. We're hoping to talk to our friend Mina Kimes. We're hoping to talk to John Middlecoff of Netflix and The Volume. Bunch of good stuff. And, of course, our guy Mike Garafolo. But it's not next week. It's Friday, right? And I really do feel like this is the calm before the storm because, as you know, deals go down at the Combine. They trickle out during the week and after, right? You start to hear what teams plan to do. This was where, infamously, once upon a time, Bill O'Brien and Steve Keim were at St. Elmo's Steakhouse making a deal for David Johnson a ham sandwich for DeAndre Hopkins, right? So this is where the infrastructure gets laid.
Yeah.
I am of the mindset right now, 2 weeks out, I believe Kyler Murray is going to get cut. But if he doesn't, this is Ossenfort's last best chance to find a trade partner is next week when everybody's together, when all the staffs, all the executives get together. If you're going to get a deal done for Kyler Murray, I think it will be next week. Maybe not announced, but the parameters of a deal.
I'll say this. The Cardinals really only true saving grace is that gangrene of those New York football Jets out there in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Where they've rode the struggle bus seemingly for the last decade and a half, or really since Joe Namath guaranteed a Super Bowl win. It's been pretty tough sledding for the Jets. Jets, Jets. That's what we're going to be clamoring, because they are the real only true option for the Arizona Cardinals to pull off a trade.
You believe that?
I do believe that. If there is a team that's going to pull the trigger on a trade, I think it's going to be the Jets. Because if you think about it, the other teams are in way better situation to bring in Kyler Murray after the Arizona Cardinals have to unceremoniously cut bait and release him, to where they're going to be paying him like Russell Wilson with the Steelers a couple of seasons ago, post Broncos, kind of vet minimum, right? I mean, and the Cardinals are on the tab for the remaining money that was guaranteed, if I'm not incorrect there. But the Jets are the team that, if Kyler does get to choose his own team, it's very unlikely he's going to say, ooh, the Jets, who were, so transparently tanking, probably not the best spot to go play football in 2026 as they try to vie for the best pick in 2027. I don't know if he wants to maybe, put himself up for that willingly when, I would imagine that Kyler Murray very much wants to be a Minnesota Viking come next season. And if it's not the Vikings, if the Vikings for whatever reason don't have any interest, Pittsburgh Steelers are going to need a quarterback next season. You've got a couple different options that are way better spots than the Jets of New York.
You have to ask yourself, too, who is the Jets' willing starter if it's not Kyler Murray, right? Because it's not going to be a Dante Moore. It's not going to be Fernando Mendoza. They can't force a rookie into that situation. I don't think you're going to take Ty Simpson and start him right away. Even if the Jets end up taking him, and everybody feels like the Jets are waiting for the 2027 class. So it's got to be a tenured NFL starter. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, save for like a Mac Jones acquisition, right? Which, I don't know, doesn't feel like a Jets play, right? Like, they're not going to give up premium picks for Mac Jones a year before they draft a quarterback. And Kirk Cousins, these guys, they have options. They, like, Kirk Cousins willingly probably wouldn't go to the Jets, right? Would go other places. I'm with you. I think Jacoby Brissett or Kyler Murray, one of them ends up there. I agree with that. And I also think at the end of the day, like, Derek Carr is not coming out of retirement to play for the Jets. I think it's overblown that they have a familiar coach on staff. I don't think that means a lot in the grand scheme of things. Where's Derek Carr thrived in his career? West with the Raiders, West in college at Fresno State. Yeah, Southern aspect when he was in New Orleans, but obviously West would be a team in Arizona if he chose to come here. There are no redeeming qualities for me to assume that Derek Carr would want to go and play for the New York Jets. So I'm with you. Everything that you consume, I've been consuming way too much Jets New York media. Mm-hmm. Aaron Glenn has very little say into what's happening, if at all, with personnel. Woody Johnson is in control. Woody Johnson tried to hire John Gruden. They need pizzazz. They need wow factor. And you're right. This free agency period, which I like, and I think it's undervalued. Like, the Jets have what, $100 million? Mm-hmm. Like, they have more money than they can spend. What are they going to do? Overpay a bunch of guys? Overpay aging pass rushers in a great edge rusher class? No, I think you come in here and you say, okay, we're going to give the Cardinals maybe a 4th or a 5th round pick for Kyler Murray, and we're going to take on his salary. Like, That you're right. That's the only scenario I think that's realistic right now. I don't see Pittsburgh. I don't see Atlanta. Minnesota, I think, would sign up for K1, but on their terms, right?
Right.
And you don't have the desperation of Kwesi now. I mean, like, they don't have a GM right now. They've got like a default GM to get them through free agency and the draft. If Kwesi was here, I think you could get a very reactionary Kwesi after blowing it with Sam Darnold. And like, Kyler Murray's going to the Minnesota Vikings if Kyler Murray is cut. Like, I believe that. If they want him, right, it's got to be reciprocated.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And when you start to play that quarterback musical chairs, who's going to be viewed as the top quarterback on the market, and then you take into the different variables about who's going, what's it going to take to get Kyler? Are you going to play the waiting game? Is he going to get cut and hit the open market, to where the Jets, they have the ability almost scot-free. This is the one sticking point that could get in the way of this, is that the Jets are like, okay, with Kyler, what's a sticking point with everybody else is going to be a sticking point with us, is if we want that bridge 2027, he's got guaranteed money on the books for 2027. And that's just the hold up with everybody. That's the hold up with not just the Cardinals, with all 32 teams in the NFL when they look at that contract. It's just, that's the big issue, big sticking point with these big deals as they've been signed in the last decade or so, since the revamping of the CBA. It's really kind of muddied some things up, and some teams have found some ways around it, or there's just teams like the Denver Broncos who just wore it with Russell Wilson, because they just would rather take the hit then and move on and be financially free from that, to find their future signal caller, take that gigantic leap of faith. And it's about as complicated as it gets with this contract. And it's really unfortunate, because it's tough for people to comprehend when they see the harsh reality that's very real. And Kyler Murray could be outright cut.
Yeah.
Or that the best you could do for Kyler Murray in a trade could be a day 3 pick. And it's not a question of how does the league view Kyler Murray as a quarterback in this league, because I think that there's probably more than half that view him as a starting caliber quarterback in this league, but they don't want to take the risk of adding future financial obligations beyond this season.
So 3 years ago in February, around this time, the Las Vegas Raiders released Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Why did they do that? Does anybody remember? The timing was done because they had paid him a salary of $40 million that would have been guaranteed fully if he had been on the roster to start the new league year. It's almost an identical situation where Kyler Murray's is less. I think Derek's was like fully like $40 million for the following year.
Yeah.
Kyler's is only about half of that, but it's the same scenario. And like, you can make an argument, like, and we're going to talk about Derek Carr, like what Derek Carr had accomplished more than Kyler Murray had. Derek Carr had been to the playoffs a couple times. He'd been the best quarterback they'd had in, decade and a half, certainly since their Super Bowl run. And they had to outright release him so that they did not have to pay guaranteed money for a future season. And so with these big ticket contracts, I don't want to say it's very little about the player, but it's more so about the guarantees. The DeAndre Hopkins situation, Derek Carr, now Kyler Murray. I mean, and again, like, you've got Miami leaking it out there. Oh, we're willing to trade Minkah Fitzpatrick. It's because they know they're going to cut him if somebody doesn't ship them a late round pick to inherit the salary, right? Like, anytime you see that, and unfortunately the Cardinals are in this wheelhouse. Hey, we're open for business. Like, we have this double source on this show. You can take it to the bank. They shopped Kyler Murray at the trade deadline last year. They called a bunch of teams. They gauged interest. Nobody wanted him at that time. Now, you got new people involved. You got people, like the Jets who are more desperate, the Vikings who could be more desperate. You got new regimes like Atlanta. Like, maybe you can find a partner. But I will have a pretty good idea, I think, even before anything goes down, Bo, the end of next week in Indianapolis, like, are they getting a pick for him or not? I think we'll have I'm leaning toward no at this point, but we'll have a definitive answer one way or the other.
Yeah, no, I think we will as well. And these conversations, that they're not easy, because this is a player that you rooted for, you pulled for, you put some stuff out there on social media that didn't age well. And as far as it goes, it doesn't mean that you don't still support and won't root for that player going forward. I think what Cardinals fans, especially, like, we'll call them the Kyler truthers out there, that think that there is a sliver of hope, or that the door remains ajar as far as his ability to come back. I push against that as much as I possibly can, because I don't want you to be disappointed. I just want you to understand, lay it all out there for you. Just look at how things have transpired since week 5 of the regular season. I mean, Kyler Murray gets hurt, and then he gets soft benched, and then this 2 to 4 week injury turns into a season ending injury. And for the most part, it's just both parties are dead silent on it, especially from Kyler's behalf. And that's all, part of the process as far as trying to have an amicable, just parting of ways here, so both can get into a good situation. But just look at, like, how this offseason has transpired. Like, Jonathan Gannon gets fired. Kyler Murray tweets out, "I'll go to war with JG any day." And then Mike LaFleur gets hired, and it's radio silence. One of the bigger days in organizational history happens yesterday. They break ground on a new facility that's going to open up in 2028 and be a game changer. It's not that he wasn't there, but there hasn't been anything like celebratory from Kyler Murray. And like there was, Mike LaFleur talks about how there was some sort of communication between him and Kyler. And I can tell you from what I've heard, that wasn't like this, "Hey, how's it going? Excited you to be here. And, I can't wait to work with you." It wasn't that at all. So let's just start to live in reality, in the future reality that is the Cardinals organization without K1 in it.
Yeah. Like, I think Mike sent him a text. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Like, Kyler's moved on, and the Cardinals have moved on.
Right.
And I think next is, fan acceptance. And again, like, we do our best to try to prepare this audience, prepare folks on social media. I put a tweet out there in January while we were at Radio Row, and it was just like, the more we're around people in the know, it's just like, it's going to be very difficult not to part ways with him, but to trade that contract. So I unfortunately, I think we're heading toward Kyler Murray being outright released, which is, the optics of that are going to be tough, Bo, but then you have to turn around and you have to make good on what the plan is for 2026. We're going to take a quick break. Bo and I are going to go on the record. We're going to give our predictions, at least pre-combine, who's going to be the starter for this team entering 2026. That's coming up. Check out our friends at Circle K. Become a member of the Inner Circle today and take advantage of all the phenomenal deals, not just at the pump, but inside and beyond. Of course, they've got the current promotions like the 79-cent Froster, the 79-cent Polar Pop, and then phenomenal general deals. $1.50 Michelob Ultra, Bud Light, or Bud Heavy at just 16 ounces. They can do the buy two, get one free Monster 16-ounce energy drink. They can do save 25 cents per gallon when you buy 3 Coca-Cola products, 20 ounces or more. That's a member, and that's a part of the Inner Circle, as is 2 for $6 Red Bulls, 12 ounces. Can't beat that. Can't beat the meal deal matrix, $3, $4, and $6 meal deal matrix. $3 one perfect way to have lunch any time of the day. Hot dog, tornado, select Frito-Lay's chips, a Polar Pop up to 44 ounces. And then you've got the 2 slices of ZA, 20-ounce Coca-Cola Pepsi product up to 44 ounces for just $6. Join the Inner Circle for free. I know I have, by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com, Bo, for more details.
Really missing out if you're not joining the free Inner Circle. It's changed my life. It really has. Look, you know what else has changed my life? And Johnny, you know this about me. We all know this about me. I'm a man about town. I'm all over the valley. And wherever I am, I'm looking around, and there are these beautiful BB hats out there, the branded Bill hats. You see them wherever you go. They're taking over. They're local, right? They're based in Mesa, but they're international. They've got the right fit for you. Look at this lid. This is fantastic. This is going home with me. So I'm going to keep this one right here. Branded Bills. It helps elevate your brand, whether it's your company, maybe it's your co-ed softball team, maybe it's your kids' little league team. It's Branded Bills. It's going to help elevate your brand. It's not just limited to hats as well. It's apparel. Check it out right now. Snapbacks, truckets, fitters, fitted, beanies, and tees. Were any of those words? I'm on my deathbed, basically, as far as the sickness goes. Branded Bills has you covered in performance and style. Also a partner with the Phoenix Suns. And, of course, their campus collection. Gear up for March Madness with a nice U of A lid. Local company, as I said, Mesa. Check it out, though. They're going international, worldwide. Brandedbills.com. Use the code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. That's BBPHNX for 15% off at brandedbills.com.
I think to be able to assess what quarterback this team goes with, you have to be able to assess the head coach. We haven't had much time with him yet.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring up a quote that I heard earlier today, and then Teo Mackey put on Twitter from the flagship radio station. Remember, everybody was freaking out that the Cardinals weren't doing a bunch of media. Mike LaFleur did hop on local radio, and he said, we're going to operate better than anyone in the NFL. And I really believe that, because that takes no talent, just setting foundations with our cadence, our formation, how we break the huddle. That I can guarantee. So, I mean, you always hear about like the mental optics of football, the mental grind, and being able. I mean, I thought Jonathan Gannon's team did this really well the first 2 years. They were least penalized team in the NFL. They did a lot of the little things right. They got away from that this year. They were a disaster with the details. So Mike's very much going from the mindset. I did too, Connor. I thought he was fantastic on air. He does a really nice job. That being Mike LaFleur, speaking to the media in the brief times we've seen him. I think, like, okay, if you're talking about detail-oriented, if you're talking about dominating the huddle before you even break it, who does that sound like for a quarterback for this team, right? I think that matters, right? People who have experience, people who have the optics to go in and command a huddle with Trey and Marv and Mike, and maybe, a high pick or a high, running back, or, addition in free agency, who can come in and do that. So I don't know. That quote to me stuck out. The details matter, and doesn't sound like a rookie quarterback to me.
Yeah. As far as team penalties in 2025, least penalized team was
LA Rams.
Yeah. Pretty disciplined team. Pretty good team. And as far as like holding, like post-snap penalties, like I'm sure they are legit as far as lack of pre-snap, but post-snap, they weren't bad either. I think they were like third or fourth least in holding penalties offensively. So good stuff there. Like, I love to hear that. And I'd love to see him back it up. And, that's, you want to see him fix the offense. And that was a big, huge problem, especially early on for this offense, where they would take one step forward and two steps back because of that laundry on the field that they would draw. And it was very kind of uncharacteristic, but man, did it snowball to where this team just, it really cast JG and his coaching staff in a really negative light, that it was tough to kind of defend by the end of it. It's like, okay, you're going to be in lopsided losses and you're going to be undisciplined. You're going to set a record for most penalties in a game as a team. And we've seen some undisciplined teams. Hell, Cliff Kingsbury led the league in penalties 2 of his 4 seasons at the helm of the Cardinals. He was in the top 5 every year, and they still didn't approach, 19 penalties that they had this year. And I don't care how flag happy the crew is. It's just, it's something that LaFleur, I love it. It's something that takes no effort. It takes no skill. It just takes you being, on top of your game and focused.
Hit that like button. Let's get into it. Our quarterback musical chairs that we've talked about. There it is. Shout out to Noah, man, putting this together. Let's go through it team by team. Starting first with Pittsburgh, we'll go right to left, Bo, of who we think ends up where. Starting in Pittsburgh, I think it would be a little bit of a modest upset if Aaron Rodgers isn't back in the Steel City. Everything, from their media is just biding time. McCarthy and Rodgers have been in touch with each other. The ownership wants Rodgers back. I think Rodgers wants to feel wanted. Remember, he was willing to go back to the Jets, and they were like, no thanks. Aaron Glenn told him no. Like, I would be surprised if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play for the Steelers this season.
Okay. Yeah, that's some good firm logic there. I'll take Aaron Rodgers staying in Pittsburgh. Great football town. I think he, they put him in a position at this stage in his career to be successful. He doesn't have to throw the ball, deep. He can run his style of offense. DK Metcalf in place, always a decent run game, and you know what you're going to get defensively. So there's that, and the only other quarterbacks that I think maybe Pittsburgh, if they wanted to be aggressive with it, could go after Mac Jones.
Yeah, for sure. But again, like, if their first preference, I believe, is going to be Aaron Rodgers. Let's keep things going here. The Miami Dolphins. I read an article the Jets. The Jets are up next.
Okay.
I've been on the record. I think it's going to be either Kyler Murray or Jacoby Brissett for the New York Jets. I'll throw a curveball and say Jacoby Brissett opens the season as the starter.
Wow.
For the New York Jets. How do you feel about that?
Not even on our quarterback musical chairs graphic.
I think Frank Wright has influence. I think ownership wants somebody that can move the sticks as opposed to Justin Fields, whatever the hell that was last year.
Right.
What would you think if they called the Cardinals? What would you be willing to accept for Jacoby Brissett?
Anything.
You would take like 5th, 6th rounder.
Yeah. You want to give a draft pick up for Jacoby Brissett? I mean, it comes down to how Michael LaFleur views Jacoby Brissett. We know that Monti Ossenfort views Jacoby Brissett as a good quarterback, as at least, really solid backup. So, I mean, what is that worth to you? Are you looking just for a wholesale change, a facelift to that room to match what you want to do with those West Coast concepts? I mean, if you're going to get rid of Jacoby Brissett, I would accept anything in return. He's not on a big deal. This isn't Tyson Bagent where, he's young, he's controllable, and you could try to drive the draft capital price up, where it's just like, if he's not in the cards in the future for you, I mean, I know he's a nice safety net, but you got to set your sights a little bit higher than Jacoby Brissett. I don't know, man. I'm not going to overlook and discount Musgrave being there as the quarterback's coach, his ties to Derek Carr. Derek Carr talking well of the Jets. I think Derek Carr's got 3 potential suitors, maybe a 4th. And the Jets being one. I think the Cardinals another one. Minnesota Vikings is their kind of break glass in case of emergency if they whiff on a couple of these other guys. And then he's got a tight relationship with Clint Kubiak. As far as the Raiders go, could he go back up of Fernando Mendoza?
All right, I'll let you pick this one. You want to go Derek Carr for the Jets? All right, the Jets, by the way, don't have a 3rd, but they have a 4th, 2 5ths, 2 6ths, and 2 7ths. So plenty of fodder at the back half of the draft. I mean, I'm with you, Austin. I will have to see it to believe it that Derek Carr will go play for the Jets next year. But for the sake of this exercise, let's put Derek with the Jets. Back to our big board here. Minnesota Vikings. This is interesting. So I don't know if it was one of these fan sites. Maybe it was through SB Nation. But I saw a headline over the weekend, last weekend, and I'd forgotten about this. Do you remember the quarterback that Kevin O'Connell basically, I don't want to say coddled after a game, but basically like gave him like words of wisdom? It was a young quarterback that the Vikings had just beat to hell. Brian Flores just dominated him. But then there's Kevin O'Connell just basically saying like, I'll take care of you. Come to me one day. Do you remember who that was?
I don't.
It was Anthony Richardson.
Oh, wow.
2 years ago when Sam Darnold and company beat the hell out of the Indianapolis Colts. He's supposedly fixated with Anthony Richardson. I don't know if you can bring in Anthony Richardson to compete with J.J. McCarthy, like if anybody wins in that scenario.
Right.
But this person bringing that up, I thought was interesting because I immediately remembered it. Mm-hmm. So that being said, Kyler Murray, if we think he's cut, the question then becomes, Bo, do the Vikings have interest in Kyler Murray? Because we know Kyler, and specifically Kyler's camp, have interest in the Vikings.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony Richardson's intriguing. We would have said last offseason going into training camp that Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones was one of the saddest quarterback competitions going on. And Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, proved us wrong there. And that was Jones coming off a little stint with KOC. Is he truly the quarterback whisperer? I mean, not so with JJ McCarthy, but other guys. I want to play a little bit extra, a little bit more connecting in the dots, where it was Sam Darnold is a Jet that fails. Sam Darnold is a Panther that fails. He goes to San Francisco and he works under Kyle Shanahan, and then he goes where?
Goes to Minnesota.
He goes to Minnesota. And I think that might be the similar path for one Mac McCorkle-Jones.
Got it. So who's the Vikings starter this year?
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. Got it.
Mac Jones. I mean, where do you like Mac?
No, I think that's 100%. Like, if they told Kyler Murray, like, thanks, but no thanks. For transparency, the Minnesota Vikings, who pick, looking for their first round pick, they pick 18th. They have a second, a third, another third, a comp pick. They don't have a fourth. If the San Francisco 49ers get pick 49 for Mac Jones, I'm going to throw up on our draft set. It's going to be a bad place for your boy. All right, keeping things going there. Mac Jones, Derek Carr off the board. Miami Dolphins, okay? Miami Dolphins, who I think are basically actively stripping the roster down like the Cardinals in 2023. Hey, Jalen Waddle could be available. Hey, they're cutting Tua. Hey, Mika Fitzpatrick, give us anything for it. Like, this is the biggest competition that the Cardinals have for Malik Willis, we assume.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just going to tell you right now, I think there's a reality, and things could change, that not Tua, but who played at the end of last year and showed some promise, Quinn Ewers. I'm going to say the Dolphins roll with Quinn Ewers this year, and maybe like a Jimmy G or a Geno Smith in the mix. But I'm going to say Quinn Ewers opens up the season as the Dolphins starting quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the Cardinals have an edge in cap space, in way better landing spot as far as offensive options from playmaking standpoint to coaching and play calling and all the infrastructure that you want. So I'm not, I don't think that the Dolphins aren't a threat for Malik Willis. I think that could be a very real reality. But if he were to put it all on paper, Cardinals would be a good spot for him. Man, yeah, I think you could go several different options. I even like them kicking the tires on Anthony Richardson in Miami.
Yeah,
along with a Quinn Ewers. But they're in such tough spot cap wise that they're gonna have to take really whatever they can get, and they might be willing as far as this stage of the rebuild.
Like I think the people who are like the Jets are tanking may not be paying attention to what the Dolphins are doing, because like I think Monti Ossenfort is going to add this offseason. The Dolphins are actively, at least right now, stripping this puppy to the bone. And like, it's not a great free agency class. It gives you depth, but there's no Ndamukong Suh to go throw money at, or Christian Wilkinson, or whomever. I'm going to go, like a Geno Smith, a Quinn Ewers, somebody like that can come. They'll have a quarterback room of a bunch of Jags, and they're just going to say, somebody go win the job in training camp. Hafley's got his work cut out for him. Bobby Slowick, good luck to him. I think we could be sitting here 8 months from now, and the Dolphins are one of the worst teams in the NFL by design. I mean, they're stripping it down. Let's keep things going here. Dolphins off the board. We've got the Atlanta Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Murray still available.
Yeah.
Malik Willis still available. Kirk Cousins still available. So this is actually fallen nicely for the Cardinals. Bo, gut tells you what with Atlanta. Conventional quarterback is what Stefanski, you would assume, prefers. Certainly Matt Ryan there. I think this could be a good spot for Derek Carr if he's not traded elsewhere. Anybody else that we haven't talked about
the division,
yet?
Though? I mean, are they going to care?
They might. It's got some familiarity.
I mean, that's tough. Michael Penix with another knee injury. He's not a young buck, despite him just playing his second season out of college. I mean, do you want to bring in somebody that also provides competition for Penix, or could just take over as QB1 there in Atlanta? I mean, I think Kyler provides that for you, given that he's released and you're able to just outright sign him.
So I have a name that we haven't talked about enough that I assume he's going to play next year. And I just searched it on social media. Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco going to Atlanta to be the bridge to Michael Penix when he returns. A 41-year-old Joe Flacco. I mean, that doesn't do it for you as a Falcons fan, but could be the reality. I
think he could be like the backup to whoever they land on as far as the bridge.
Okay. I mean, like, that feels pretty bridgy to me. I mean,
but you need him to start probably most of the season.
I mean, is there a reality in which Kirk Cousins comes back? I don't think so.
I mean, Garofalo said so.
I know. He has to take one hell of a pay cut. I mean, Flacco last year, 15 touchdowns, 10 picks. I mean, most of that was against who? I can't remember what game that was. Was that the Bears game or was that 2 years ago? I don't know. But yeah, the egregious trade that the Browns just gave away him to.
So where's Kyler land then?
I don't know. I'm telling you. Kyler Murray, like, would it shock you if he signed with Kansas City for a year and it's like Mahomes isn't coming back till December, Kyler's signing there for $1 million and he's going to start the year for Andy Reid? That wouldn't shock you? Wouldn't surprise me.
Be pretty surprising.
I mean, all right, let's put Kirk Cousins back in Atlanta. So in that scenario, Kyler's on the board still. The Cardinals, in this scenario, you would hope get who? Malik Willis being still available.
Yeah. I mean, it's who we had kind of promoting this show. I mean, I think you look at it as the three options. It's Willis, it's your top options. Cousins is your next, and then Derek Carr, or flip those two quarterbacks.
Right.
However you see it fit. I mean, don't spend too much time on that. That's because it's a tough scene altogether. But yeah, I mean, I think that those are your options realistically as a Cardinals fan.
Yeah. I mean, if you had to guess right now your prediction for who they end up with, having not talked to anybody next week, is it Malik Willis?
I think you're going to get that is over 50, probably coming in around 60% of what we're going to hear out there.
I mean, like, when your best friend is your brother and your brother was his coach and he saved their ass multiple times when Jordan Love went down, specifically 2 years ago. Right. They don't make the playoffs without him. I'll go on the record. I think it will be Malik as the target. I can never say that this team is going to land the plane, but as a target, I think Malik Willis. I mean, they can sell to the fan base. He's got upside. I know, unlike you, I'm not really concerned about the money as long as it's front loaded, right? It's not going to deter them from doing anything else this year. They have a lot of cap space already, and they can make, as we outlined on a previous show, $50 million with like 7 or 8 guys cut. Kyler Murray, you're going to cut him, but you're going to save a little bit of money. I'm with you. You're playing in a sandbox with Malik Willis, Derek Carr, and Kirk Cousins. Those are really the acceptable solutions, because Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think is better than Jacoby Brissett. You can't bring in Anthony Richardson or Will Levis and just say, these are our guys. Like, you have to get people who with significant starting experience. And with Carr and Cousins specifically, they've been to the playoffs. They've done it before. And then Malik is the ultimate wild card.
Let's get into new man on the scene who provides more kind of clarity as far as the connection between Matt and Mike LaFleur and what his influence is on his younger brother, who's the Cardinals' new head coach, and some decisions he made as far as his staff goes. LaFleur's staff is complete. The man who broke every hire from Mike LaFleur along the way. It's your new Cardinals insider, Matt Zenitz. He's going to join us next here on PHNX Cardinals.
Do you do your research? Have you done upkeep after you've been in a serious accident or injury? I'm going to tell you right now, the lawyer you hire, it matters. That's where you got to turn to. The husband and wife law team, Mark and Alexis Breyer. Their homes here in Phoenix. They've raised their 8 children, and that's their focus, is giving back to their customers and getting you results in your community. Because let's face it, after a serious injury, you want to hire an attorney that's focused on your best outcome, not how much money they make with their firm. That's the husband and wife law team. How are they different? Well, in Arizona, the state bar has certified less than 1% of all lawyers who specialists in injury and wrongful death litigation, and they're in that 1%. You can access attorneys all the time. Don't play phone tag to try to speak with your attorney. Call your paralegal, schedule time with your lawyer, and you know you have the support that you need. And again, they will actually go to trial. If a case needs to go to trial, they're ready to go. They know their way around a courtroom and what needs to be done to prevent an affront for their clients. Again, the practice is 100% dedicated to injury and wrongful death, experienced and specialized and equipped with the expertise to handle every aspect of your case. Don't take my word for it. If you had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8846. That's 602-783-8841, or visit the website at the link in the show notes and tell them Johnny and Bo sent you.
I want to keep my messaging simple here because it is pretty easy to comprehend that there's no downside to using Upside if you drive. It's actually just a plus. You're missing out on cash that you can be putting straight in your bank account from the Upside app. It's just everyday things you're already doing that you're getting paid back for from Upside. That's right. Download the Upside app today and you can save on gas. How about grocery runs that you're already spending money on? You're going to get money back. Hundreds of thousands of gas stations, restaurants, and grocery stores are on the app. And before you fill up or go buy groceries, check out Upside. Claim an offer and pay like normal, and then that's it. No points, no weird rewards, just actual cash that goes straight to your bank account. Pretty simple, right? No downside to Upside. People earn more with Upside than traditional rewards. Users are earning about $1 million in cash back every single week. I use this. Johnny uses this. Kevin behind the Mac, he uses it as well, and you should too. Upside's giving back $1 billion to its users. Find out how you can earn. Download the free Upside app. Use the promo code PHNX and get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas using the code PHNX when you sign up for Upside. Behind the scenes of Mike LaFleur hiring his first Arizona Cardinals coaching staff, we go to the newest Cardinals insider crushing it all along the way. Matt Zenitz of CBS Sports joins us. And, of course, hit that like. Subscribe to PHNX Sports on YouTube. And, Matt, I hope that the Red Sea, the Bird Gang, has been welcoming to you.
I'm just glad to be at a point now where getting closer to the point of finality, not only with the Cardinal staff, but coaching moves around the country is starting to reach a quieter point before the craziness of free agency starts in a few weeks.
Matt, we were taken back with your initial report of Nathaniel Hackett. We were on Radio Row. We were doing our show live. That report came out. I mean, how did that whole thing come about in your opinion? Because, we assumed, Mike's going to, poach somebody from the Rams, maybe a Dave Ragone or somebody like that, when in all actuality, he wasn't connected to any other coordinator options, at least publicly, other than Nathaniel Hackett.
There are some connections there, obviously, and just from my standpoint, fortunate to have some good relationships around coaching, front office world, both at the college level and NFL level to go along with that. And like Bo and I talked about previous time, Nathaniel was the initial name that came up for me, and really it was worded strongly enough where it was told that he's the clear name to keep an eye on. And really at the beginning point of the process, it was presented to me as the expected hire. And obviously there's a process that you have to go through before being able to get that to the point of finality. But the Cardinals and Mike LaFleur did a good job discreetly going through that process and getting to the finish line in terms of the interviews and just getting through all of that without names getting out there publicly, to where they were able to get the hire of Nathaniel Hackett done and finalized quicker than I initially expected them to be able to do that.
Yeah, one of the hires that they made that they kind of dragged their feet on and actually interviewed potential replacements. And according to your reporting, Albert Breer's reporting, the Cardinals offered a couple defensive coordinator positions. Gus Bradley, one of those names. Another one popped up, and they interviewed guys like Aubrey Pleasant, Carl Ross from the or Scott from the Seahawks. Wink Martindale's name makes it into it. We talk about these relationships. Matt and Mike, obviously brothers there. Sean McVay, Shanahan's in there. You've got the Hackett tie. Rallis obviously directly tied to Jonathan Gannon, the previous head coach here, who's now the DC in Green Bay. I mean, from your standpoint, from your vantage point, how did Nick Rallis make his way back to being Cardinals DC after kind of turning the page on the Gannon era?
It's the end of a very thorough process and search. And like you kind of covered just now, there were a number of different coaches that were vetted and looked into, and that Mike had communication with throughout the course of that process. That there were some, like Gus Bradley, that if he didn't end up elsewhere, probably a decent chance that in Arizona right now. That there are others like the aforementioned Carl Scott, definitely of interest, but at the same time felt good about the situation that he's in Seattle, to the point that passed up multiple DC opportunities elsewhere, including with the Commanders, which he was a definite name of interest for, to go along with Arizona. And that all contributed to the outcome being what it was, with Nick being back now as the defensive coordinator. And that's no knock on Nick whatsoever, just be clear, because if Mike LaFleur doesn't think that he's capable of doing the job, would have continued to look at external options and look to find somebody else. So there was a level of confidence there at the same time, just in terms of his capability to do this. But this definitely was an extensive search and a number of different coaches that were looked into before the outcome was what it was.
Do you think that his brother Matt had any influence on him, just based on his relationship, not only with Jonathan Gannon, who's got a relationship with Nick Rallis, but of course Nathaniel Hackett? Because what we saw over the tenure of Jonathan Gannon here in Arizona, his staff didn't have a ton of experience. Like, how important was that for Mike when putting together this group of guys?
The thing you have to remember with Nick, like going back to when he was originally hired, I'm sure you guys got similar feedback at that point, is what had gotten on my end leading up to that, just very highly thought of in terms of the coaching space. Has it gone as planned since he got there? No. I obviously not groundbreaking in terms of throwing that out, but at the same time, we'll see just if able to make some upgrades in terms of the locker room from a player perspective that maybe could contribute to some of the results and stats and overall production being different than what it's been to this point in this next go around with Nick as the defensive coordinator. But this is somebody who, for what it's worth, that despite some of the issues and ups and downs and mixed reviews that you will frankly get, says somebody who, that there are a lot of people in the coaching world that still think highly of him as a defensive mind.
I mean, 32 years old, this guy was a rising star. I mean, all signs were pointing towards that before the month of November really kind of kicked in, and then things kind of just fell apart. A lot of good to take away from Rallis' tenure so far. And I guess it didn't completely torpedo his reputation within the facility, and Michael LaFleur liked him enough. But with that, it wasn't without changes across his staff. One of the first times we got kind of some insight from Matt Zenitz was when you reported that Coach Debo was going to Michigan State. He was going to jump ship from the D-line coach, but they've replaced Debo, who was in his late 20s, with a grizzled veteran, nearly 60 years old, former DC from Texas, and Kwiatkowski. I mean, when you just look at the defensive staff changes, anybody stand out as far as the personnel that they brought in?
I mean, you've got a hell of a mix. You have a former player who's having his first row opportunity as a coach, and Matt Schaub. You have some veteran figures like the Pete Kwiatkowskis of the world, and then you have some up-and-comers like some of the college coaches that hired, including the two from University of Miami. So I think it's a nice mixture there, including just factoring in some coaches that Mike LaFleur has pre-existing relationships with to go along with others that have established themselves as either up-and-comers in the coaching world or just have earned good reputations to the point that now have been hired as a part of this staff.
You've been as locked in as anybody when the staff has been made public. Do you have any insight as it relates to the next phase, which is going to be who Mike LaFleur inevitably chooses as his quarterback? We know Kyler Murray is set to be traded and or released here in the next couple of weeks. Any insight to a potential free agent that the Cardinals could look at, assuming that Mike LaFleur is going to play a big part in that?
So been so locked in when it comes to the coaching part of this that I honestly have been, I don't want to say out of the loop in terms of the player side of this, but now that things calm down from a coaching standpoint, can start to dig in more when it comes to that part. But I think you guys and I have the same kind of expectation when it comes to Kyler. And I'm sure most people have the same kind of feel at this point in terms of what the likely outcome is when it comes to him and his future in Arizona.
Last question. I want to circle back to the coaching staff. Given when Michael LaFleur was hired, second to last coach hired during this cycle, probably the last if you count Kubiak, who's all signs pointing to him going to the Raiders, despite the Cardinals' interest until the very end. Did you see or hear of any struggles as far as LaFleur trying to build this staff so late in the process, with a lot of the good coordinators and assistants gobbled up by the other 9 vacancies and other vacancies that just popped up around the league?
I would say one of the biggest things that came up with this staff, and this goes back to the head coaching part of it also, that there were some concerns about the infrastructure part of it, and that was something that was of concern. And this is just being completely real, open, candid, that there was a concern for some different coaches that were looked into, even going back to the head coaching part of it. But I do think there's a level of confidence for people in the coaching world in Mike LaFleur to where when he was eventually hired as the head coach, put together a staff now that you do have some intriguing figures there. And I know with like the Nick Rallis retention, it didn't seem like that was particularly well received by the Arizona fan base. But at the same time, to go along with the retentions with Nick or Justin Fry or Christian Garcia, who will be shifting to coaching safeties now, or Matt Feeney, some of those guys that were there previously, you do add some respected figures around the coaching world to go along with that, in addition to just says some other interesting figures. Like for me, I'm legitimately curious to see just what Matt Schaub becomes as a coach now. I have obviously played in the NFL for a long time, and that's somebody who, just looking at his profile, that's somebody who you would think would make for a hell of a coach whenever decide to go that route. Now gets his first opportunity. That's somebody that, if I'm a quarterback, I would think would be able to learn a decent amount from. And then a big piece that left out from a retention perspective is Connor Sanger. So Connor, and this is far from a secret at this point, has established himself as a huge up-and-comer in the coaching world, had multiple offensive coordinator interviews this cycle, had multiple quarterback coach interviews this cycle. I believe Connor is still just 30 years old, and the way that he was described by one of the teams that interviewed him for OC job was that he was the second most impressive external interview that they had. And with Seattle, who eventually hired Brian Fleury. But Connor was described by someone in Seattle as actually not only the second most impressive external person that they interviewed for that spot, but probably the second most impressive overall interview. And it was added in. He's not there yet, but he's extremely, extremely impressive.
Matt, you've been impressive. The MVP of the Cardinals coaching search on Twitter. Give him a follow on all social accounts. NFL college football reporter for CBS Sports. Hope to have you back on the show, my guy.
Sounds good, guys. I appreciate it.
Debut. He's going to be out. Matt's going to be out at Indy next week, so we'll catch up with Matt and everybody else. But just your initial takeaways from our time with a guy who's clearly tapped in on this coaching staff.
Yeah, I mentioned at the end there the infrastructure, right? I mean, that's something that we had to talk about on a daily basis as far as what was going to be in question, what were kind of the hurdles that this team had to get over in order to land a head coach, but still didn't deny them for getting a good candidate in here and landing Mike LaFleur. And as far as like his actual coaching staff, like it didn't seem like, Gus Bradley was saying thanks, but no thanks because the Cardinals are the Cardinals. And same thing goes for Carl Scott. Carl Scott, as he mentioned in that, turned down the Commanders as well. It just seems like he was pretty content staying in Seattle with his position now and maybe rolling the dice next offseason and maybe getting some more serious interviews instead of going on to Washington or Arizona. So some good insight there, some stuff that, I think a lot of us already knew. The tapped in community here for the Cardinals here, PHNX Cardinals, everybody who has a social media account, they can be sleuths on their own and they see a lot of this, but Matt just kind of backing it up. Like I like what he said about Schaub. I'm curious to see what kind of coach Schaub is, but it's right now it looks like a pretty good hire, a 2-time Pro Bowler, joining a guy like Michael LaFleur, who's also a well-respected offensive mind. Like, potentially what that could be.
I don't want to throw water on the Cardinals made an announcement today. We kind of glazed over at the beginning of the show that they announced their coaching staff, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people got hung up on they're retaining, Nick Rallis aside, 10 coaches. Okay. Mm-hmm. Of these coaches, a lot of them are assistants. A lot of them are not the primary. Like you've got assistant O-line coach and D-line coach, and then you've got like Sanger, and then you've got Justin Fry and Feeney and some of the people we've talked about, Christian Garcia. So like I know like the optics are, the Cardinals had to keep a bunch of their guys because they were desperate and the timing. Maybe there's some truth to that. At the end of the day, though, like they got the guys they wanted primarily on offense, and then defensively, I thought they made a tremendous defensive line hire in Gronkowski, and we're going to see what Nick Rallis is made of. So is this a perfect staff? No, but I think it's got an opportunity to surprise a lot of people. And guess what? If it doesn't, then they will make wholesale change. Like these guys who are retained, could they be a Jeff Rodgers who was retained under multiple regimes and did a nice job until it ended abruptly this offseason? Or are they going to be one and done? We'll find out. But I wouldn't get too hung up on like the 10 guys who were retained.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, the ones that you could potentially get hung up on, those were already out there in the zeitgeist. Like people you already knew about, Matt Feeney coming back as outside linebackers coach, Justin Fry as the offensive line coach. But like Kenny Bell, you shouldn't be upset about. Like Kenny Bell had the respect of Cliff Kingsbury. He had the respect of Jonathan Gannon and everybody in that organization. I mean, he's a guy that is kind of a do everything for your coaching staff and has been a valuable resource. So it's just like, okay, I'm good with that. And then you're going to get hung up on the assistant D-line coach or, the assistant to the head coach, guys who are doing more like administrative work and don't really have an impact on, what's going to happen on Sundays. So I think it's, as Matt said, it's a hell of a mix. Like I still like the Kwiatkowski hire. And I like some of these guys bouncing back and have like Connor Singer being a passing game specialist. What Matt was saying at the end of it, coming out of Seattle, just won the Super Bowl. They're like, he was the second most impressive guy we talked to in this process.
And again, those are people Mike LaFleur is going to want to keep around. We're doing a quick programming note. Sunday, we're going to do a live stream, 8:30, Cards After Dark. We're going to table our mock until Sunday night. But here's the twist on that mock draft coming Sunday night with your two sickos, and Noah will return. We're not allowed to trade Kyler Murray, and we're trading the 3rd overall pick. Those are the parameters for Sunday night's mock. You don't like that?
Can we veto that?
Face?
Can we veto the 3rd overall pick? What are we? Are we trading down?
We are trading down. We're trading down, and we're staying within the top 10. People want that precious 2027 one. Maybe we can get it. And then we're going to see some of these other. I want to start broaching because we talked about Maui Noah. We've talked about Bailey. We've talked about Bain, right? Those guys are going to be mocked until the cows come home for this franchise. What if the Cardinals were to trade down? And who's that next group of guys? And would Monti Ossenfort consider them? So that is Sunday night, even though Bo seems very upset about it. He doesn't want to do the trade down. We're doing the trade down. It's happening. We're cutting Kyler Murray and we're doing the trade down. Wow. Doesn't even respond.
Man. All right.
Can't even respond.
Thanks for running this by me. Thanks for good collaboration.
Like
we're a team.
We'll collab on
like, this is what we're doing.
This is what we're doing.
Johnny comes into the office. He tells me to jump. I just better say how high.
That's right. Now you're getting it. All right. Super chats. I love this one. This guy's coming after us to kick things off. $5. Having the time of his life. Thought we were going to see this a lot if Vance Joseph was hired. Which dumpster fire QB will we get? Oh, the tension is killing me. I sense a little bit of sarcasm. Also, you guys were saying, what were you guys saying about Bidwill not being a bad owner? Question mark. So just a lot of heat off the bat from having the time of his life.
You want to field one of these?
I can say, I think they'll pursue Malik Willis, as we outlined earlier in the show. And I think you may be making comments yesterday because I don't know if did we back up Michael Bidwill yesterday or did we brush it off? I think was more accurate. I think it was probably more like I'm not going to get hung up on.
Maybe I said, like investing over $100 million in a plot of land in the Phoenix area for a brand new facility that's going to be state of the art. Maybe I said I liked it. I don't know. That was pretty foolish of me. It's a bad idea.
Bad, Bo. It's almost as bad as my trade down idea. Terrence, $4.99. If the Jets take Bain, AG should stay at 3 and pick Maui Noah or trade back. Oh, interesting. Trade back? Question mark. Feels like 2023 again when we passed on Will Anderson but got Paris Johnson Jr. Well, there has to be a Bain Bailey conversation of, are these guys just blue chip Pro Bowlers in waiting? Because what we're hearing right now about the tackles, and Daniel Jeremiah broke this down, Bo, in his conference call, is that the tackles are good, like top 10 good, but they're not transcendent. And I think we knew that.
Yeah.
You can't, I'm all for trading down in the right scenario. You can't pass on another transcendent player.
Yeah, if that's who Ruben Bain tells you he is, or what the tape tells you as far as David Bailey, and he checks all the boxes on and off the field. Yeah, to your point, DJ was saying the way to maximize the value is to go edge there. And we'll see what the pre-draft process presents as far as those tackles go. I mean, people were saying you can't use the top 3 pick on a right tackle. It's like, well, Lane Johnson just announced he's coming back for his 14th season, and he's just been a stalwart there for the Eagles on their offensive line. Like, I'd sign up for that if that's what you could get some sort of semblance of that from one of these tackles.
T. Clary, friend of the program, $9.99. Thank you so much, T. Clary. Facility will be a game changer. Nothing but positive vibes. There you go. We got a positive vibe from T. Clary.
Keeping it going. Thank you, Terry. Always appreciate your support. How about Connor?
Very generous.
Happy Friday, gentlemen. Safe travels to the Combine. Looking forward to the inside scoop.
Connor, unbelievable. $50 super chat. Wow. And just put it out there. Hey, man. Safe travels. We appreciate that. We'll have Sunday show, and then Monday we're off, and then Tuesday it's like Combine, Monti Ossenfort, Mike LaFleur, showtime.
Awesome.
all the stuff in between. Thank you so much, Connor. We appreciate you, my brother. Iron
Unreal.
Will, $10. Kyler could go to the Vikings, given the immense subsidies, Jets or Steelers. But Bo said Jets is the most realistic trade. I've been saying that for 3 weeks now. But is there any potential for Kyler Murray to say, I'm not going to the Jets? Or do you think he doesn't have that? We doesn't have a no
I don't
trade.
know how much pull he has as far as getting the veto trades. I don't think he gets to do that. I mean, as far as whether or not, he's going to pull like an Hassan Reddick and hold out and not show up early on. But I don't know. I don't know if he's got that type of energy right now. I think he just wants maybe the grass is greener. But we'll see. We'll get there if the Jets even come in with a trade offer. That's the biggest part.
Iron Will, very complimentary of Bo today. $2. Bo's intelligence with his explanation today has been fire. Wow. That's special.
My wife disagrees.
Iron Will is coming back. Bo, you must trade down. It's needed. JV, shame on you not collaborating with Bo in the upcoming mock draft. That's not cool. No, that's how we do business here. That's how we operate. I'm going to catch so many strays over a 3-day period in the Midwest next week. The least I can get is just call the shots on this mock draft. We were on a text thread earlier today, and it's just like, I'm going to share this with the audience now. Like,
yeah.
Is it the worst thing in the world if I don't get steak at St. Elmo's on Tuesday night? Is it the worst thing in the world if I relax, enjoy myself, and maybe don't finish everything that's on my plate? I think I earned that.
You're not going to get a steak?
I don't know. I was looking at the menu today. They have seafood. I might try something different.
You know what? I'll allow that. But yeah, I don't want to see unfinished food though.
Okay. Well, last year we did the shrimp like we always do, but I didn't dabble on any other appetizers. I didn't eat any bread.
Yeah.
Which I probably won't do this time around either. But there's a lot of pressure for me to perform last year. I did, and it's funny, you never hear about it. You never hear about that. You never hear about the $9.99 challenge. That's fine.
And one thing I will say is we took a misstep that I hope we don't do it again. We got our own individual just order of shrimp cocktail, which has 4 massive shrimp on it, and then you dip it in the special horseradish cocktail sauce that will make you see a higher power when you bite into it. It's delicious. But like putting down 4 of those before your meal, it does give you the meat sweats later on when you're trying to finish off the steak. Mondo McCarr, I don't see why we don't keep Kyler, sign Jacoby Brissett's backup free agent to complete our room. Wait for a desperate team to trade with us. Contenders lose starters every year.
Well, Jacoby's under contract. You know what? Both of them are under contract. But different coaches, and you rolled with both. Here's my counter. You rolled with both those guys last year, and you got 3 wins. And you've got new coaches now. And again, like Mike LaFleur could come out and be like, I love Jacoby Brissett. And then a lot of us are going to be like, okay. But Kyler Murray is gone from this franchise. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. And again, it's not the play I would make or Bo would make, but it's what they intend to do. They are going to make a play to trade him, and if they can't, they will cut him and move on.
Well, and Mondo's point here is like, I think he can see that, but is asking, well, why don't you hold on to him until a team becomes more desperate? And the problem here is with that is 5 days after the new league year begins, Kyler 2027 guarantees kick in.
Yeah.
And that makes a trade even tougher for a team to take on, especially like when you've got your roster in place and you've got 2026 and 2027 salary commitments. Teams don't have as much space. Like this is the time that they're going to try to do it. They're going to try to do it before that 2027 guarantee kicks in. And if they can't find a trade partner, they're going to cut them.
See ya. Joe has been a member for a month. What's up, Joe? JV and Bo, will you ask Monty and MILF if MILF is empowered to make staff changes in season if need be? Malik, Brees Hall, and Maui Noah, please and thank you. I like that. I like the latter half of that. Yes, sirree. Yeah, we'll ask. I mean, I I don't expect like in-season firings in year one of a staff unless like could Rallis be fired by like Halloween if the defense just looked like last year's defense and we picked up where we left off? 100%. So I don't think like I'm expecting any firings during the season for a new regime. I just like it would have to be like Aaron Glenn bad where like they're firing people last year during the season.
Yeah. I mean, is also the question, does Michael LaFleur have full autonomy over his own coaching staff? Mike Garafolo seemed to think so. Matt Zenitz, conversation with him, believes so. We can confirm that with Monty and Mike with a simple question next week. But it feels like these staff moves, and when you hear the kind of the insight behind the scenes for Nick coming back, it was conversations that Mike and Nick had that led to him being retained. Wow.
Kevin, shameless plug. Watch the AZ Wildcats podcast. You'll love it. Appreciate you in the chat for supporting Bo and Johnny's hard work.
That's great.
In my defense, I don't often get to use my free super chats because I can just speak on the podcast.
Yeah.
So I figured I would at least use it here to plug the podcast.
Fantastic. Thank you for your loyalty, being a member for 5 months, by the way, Kevin. And yes, use our platform to shamelessly plug your own.
I don't like it. Get out of here. It's the best Wildcats content there is. If you're a diehard U of A, definitely check it out. $5 from Chris. Seriously, do we have a chance at Mac Jones? Heard if the right price, 49ers would deal. I would say 0 chance.
It's gonna be steep. It's gonna be a steep price, and then you got like the NFC West division tax that I'm sure the Niners would throw on there. Like they're gonna have suitors for Mac Jones, like very reasonable contract, and the play from last year, like. If the choice is like, hey, we'll trade Mac Jones for the 3rd to Minnesota, and the Cardinals are coming in, like you're gonna have to drive the price up to the second pick in the second round, and the Cardinals, do they want to do that? No, I don't want them to do that.
I need my barf bag. Mac Jones getting a day 2 pick, Kyler Murray being cut. What reality are we living in? The 90s Poppy, 199. If Tua is released, we could sign him for vet minimum. Here's the issue with Tua. Is that he comes with the baggage of the health concerns, which are real. And then, like, the more you kind of listen to people, there are a lot of folks around the NFL that just don't think he can start anymore.
Right.
And so, like, is Tua coming in here to be, like, a mentor backup? Well, no, you have that in Jacoby Brissett if you keep Jacoby. I honestly think, like, Tua will probably go to, like, a Niners, a Rams kind of situation where there's a clearly entrenched starter, and then he could just hopefully he needs to be, I think more than Kyler, be built up by an elite head coach, maybe Kansas City, something like that, where he can really restart his career.
I don't know about the cold. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Stay out of the cold. Just
I mean, the things people say about Tua now, I mean, it's pretty unbelievable.
Keeping it going here. How about Cruz? Kyler, if cut, should go to the Rams as backup and learn from McVay and Stafford.
I mean, like, if he doesn't get a starting job, yeah, I think in the division would make a lot of sense. I mean, like, it's the problem with the NFC West. It's just these coaches are so high level, especially a quarterback. They just take on these reclamation projects and they use them to their own benefit or they flip them. But yeah, the Kyler saga is coming to an end here with Arizona. Trinell, $5. What about keeping Jacoby to pair with Anthony Richardson? Worst case, they just hold us over until the 2027 draft. Have Jacoby starter with AR-15 a chance to win the job. Wouldn't hate that if, like, you struck out on everybody. But I just think, Trinell, like, if this was Monti Ossenfort last year, maybe you could do that. He's got so much pressure on him now to win and make a big move. I just don't think any of these other guys are going to suffice a fan base. And you need somebody who's won before, or you need Malik Willis. Those are the two things.
Yeah, I mean, I think you check in on AR, right? And you see like what you could get him for. But I would like to see him a piece of a major quarterback room facelift.
Yeah,
is an option. But if that's like your only addition to that room, then it's not going to really inspire confidence from the fan base off the jump. Like, he's got a long way to go really toolsy prospect to being a competent quarterback in this league. Harry, Hall for K1 straight up. Safe travels, boys. Nice job.
Do it in a second. Be interesting to see if Breece Hall, we'll keep talking to people next week if Breece Hall hits the free agent market. I just keep going back to what we were told by, was it Breer or somebody, Garofalo, that said that them not trading him at the deadline when they traded everybody else meant they intended it to keep him beyond free agency. So we'll see. But like, I mean, you're getting rid of Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, but you're keeping a running back. That to me seems bizarre. Sam went digital. Has been a member for 4 months. Thank you, Sam. Malik Willis, the more I watch press conferences of him, the more I like. He's extremely poised. He's an impressive guy.
Yeah, I don't get people who are just like, no, full stop, no on Malik Willis. I mean, what he could be for the Cardinals is a bridge to 2027. I view that as intriguing and something that you could get in early on that could pop and create decent quarterback play, good quarterback play beyond just next season. It's
a gamble, but all these guys are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not without risk. It's a big risk.
Skeezy, $10. Thank you so much, Skeezy. I hope the Cardinals don't make a mistake with their defensive back core. Get rid of the DB with the best coverage skills if you want. I know who can cover and who can't. Well, this podcast, Skeezy, is a fan of Max Melton. And Nick Rallis is falling out with Max Melton cannot lead to Max Melton being, traded for 60 cents on the dollar. I mean, he's a top 50 pick. Showed a lot of promise as a rookie. Had a falling out last year. I mean, like, none of the DBs looked great at the end of last year.
Right.
I mean, like, start over. I'm glad they have a new DB coach, even though the guy was on the roster. No, it's Miami. He's from Miami. So everybody should get a clean slate on this team, from D-Rob to Max Melton, everybody. And it's just, that's the biggest concern I have, is just player development with Nick coming back with all these precious draft picks.
Good stuff from Skeezy and the rest of the super chats and just the entire chat. You all crushed it out there. So did Kevin. Check him out this weekend.
You're done.
Johnny, can you take over?
You're toast. Bo Brack, let's get him home. Let's get him well. And
let's can't talk.
That's fine. That's actually perfect. Hit that like button. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. We're going to be back, pending Bo's voice, for Sunday night Cards After Dark, where, Bo needs Breece Halls. And then Cards After Dark, when we're going to be doing a 3-round mock draft where we cannot trade Kyler Murray, but we have to trade down from pick 3. And, of course, we'll be previewing the 2026 NFL Combine, which we will be taking off on Monday. Again, reminder, show times next week, 2:30, beginning on Tuesday, Arizona time. It'll be 4:30 Indianapolis. The content and the coverage will be second to none from Indy. We appreciate everybody watching here. Appreciate Kev for subbing in for Noah and Bo for gutting it out. I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you Sunday night.
What the dog doing?
We all silly like the mayor.